here and taking time out of your busy schedules, because it shows that you care about your school. So thank you for that. But to give you a little bit of background on myself, I'm Mexican. I was born and raised there until the age of 13 when my parents brought me here to Everett. And now I'm here. And I'm interested in running for this position because I've always been interested in student government since high school and now continuing on to university level. And I'm also definitely a firm believer in public service. It is the reason behind my career, which will be Spanish-French endorsement in secondary ed. And it is the reason why I started getting involved in the AS, working at the activities office as one of the 2 club support specialists. It is also the reason why I joined the Activities Council to be a voting member. And next year, should you choose me as your VP for activities, I have an overall theme, which is collaboration, which I think will solve many of the issues and concerns that students have brought to me. Collaboration within the AS and outside of the AS. With collaboration, we can aid clubs in student outreach. We can communicate with athletics and form a working relationship with them. And we can address program saturation to ensure that students get the most out of their money. So those are the 3 issues that I'm planning on addressing. There's more on Facebook if you want to look at them. But in the end, we all of us are here to serve you. So ask questions today at the end of with the Q&A session, as well as even after the election. Go to your VPs, to your current VPs, and ask them questions, and ask us afterwards, and ask us on Facebook or Twitter, whatever you like, whatever you prefer. But if you have questions specifically for me, I'll be here at the end, and you can also go to my Facebook page, which is Giselle for VP of Activities, or Twitter, if you prefer Twitter, at GiselleAS21. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Katrina Hafner.
Hello. As some of you know, my name is Katrina Hafner, and if you didn't know, he just said it, and it's also right here. So I am a junior. I'm double majoring in anthropology and theater, and I've been involved with AS clubs since the beginning, since I first started attending Western, and since then, I've become a member of several clubs, including president of 4, and outside of clubs, I'm involved a lot with the residence halls and other activities. And the reason why I ran for this position is because I've noticed around campus, outside and within the AS, some organizations just don't have great attendance, and they try all they can. They post flyers everywhere. They give flyers to the AS Publicity Center. They buy banners, but they don't see the attendance that they could get. And so I really want to expand the avenues of advertisement on campus. Another issue that I've been concerned about is transparency within the AS. It's been mentioned a lot by other candidates too, and people coming up to me talking about it. They want to know what the AS is doing, and as their representatives, we really need to listen to them, and they have a right to know what's going on. And I also am for less bureaucracy within the AS. In some AS clubs, they think, oh my gosh, we have so many forms to do. I have to see this person and that person. And while it is necessary to have some bureaucracy, sometimes it can get excessive and actually deter people from getting more involved. And lastly, I hope to promote more collaboration between departments and organizations within and outside the AS, and expand what we've already been doing this year in Activities Council, getting people, trying to get them to work more with each other. So please consider me, Katrina Hafner, for your next Vice President for Activities.
Thank you. So we'll start with a question from you.
From me to her?
From you to her.
Okay. So my first question for you, Giselle, is what concerns do you have for WW athletics, if any, and how do you plan on addressing them?
Okay, I don't think it's so much a concern because I don't see it as such a complex problem. But just this March, the school did hire Steve Card, our new athletics director. So my only concern would be to the lack of communication between the AS and athletics right now. Their responsibility also happens to be new for the VP for activities, so I'm kind of glad you asked this because it is one of my goals to form that working relationship with the athletics director. It says on the the position description that it needs to meet, the VP for activities and the athletics director need to meet at least once per quarter, but I feel that that's a really low number, so I think that meeting once a month or even more would be better for a better communication between the AS and the athletics. And that leads nicely into another big issue that I'm trying to address that I mentioned earlier, which is program saturation within the AS along with athletics and other entities on campus. We do not want to put on an event the same night our basketball team is having a huge game, because that means students have to choose. And we don't want our students to choose because they paid $179 for their student service activities fee, and we want the students to get the most out of that money. And if we communicate, that shouldn't happen. Even within the AS, our offices tend to be really proactive and put on a lot of events. But if we communicate, we don't have to overlap. The students don't have to choose, and they can get the most out of their money.
Thank you very much. Okay, Katrina, do you have a follow-up?
Follow-up question? Well, I'm really glad that you're very enthusiastic about working with athletics and getting more involved. A concern that has been brought to me is that the people who attend the games are usually the same pool of people. Do you have any plans on expanding that?
Yeah, I mean, if we communicate with the athletics, if we know that their game is coming up, we can totally advertise it for them. We have a lot of websites, we have a lot of venues that we can advertise it through, and we can maybe have the AS sponsor a halftime game, you know, and that would be getting the AS involved with athletics. So, yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, an issue has recently been brought to my attention regarding the lack of AS presence on campus. How do you plan to resolve this problem, Katrina?
It's an issue I've been aware of since first attending Western. Something that Chelsea brought up in her interview for the AS review, saying how the board of directors or the candidates for the board of directors are only apparent during campaigning for the elections. And a friend a few years ago brought it up to me. The only time I see the AS is when they're out campaigning, and then they just disappear. And that's something we all as candidates and vice presidents and presidents need to keep in mind. The student body wants to see us so that they can know what we're doing. And so there have been past solution ideas, such as offices on South Campus, which is not very economical, which I have heard, and the others want to get more personally invested, like campaigning in Red Square every day. And so we need to find a balance between the two. So maybe we should maybe table in Red Square, maybe hold a board of directors meetings or some other committee meetings elsewhere on campus. And the board of directors has been doing a good job this year, I think, so far, such as with posters at the beginning of the year, showing all the VPs and the president on the pre-boards around campus, and we just need to expand on that.
What about like collaborating with other offices on campus? How would that look like?
How would that look like? Well, like the vice presidents and the president, we would have to reach out to other organizations and departments, and you know, you can't just expect people to come out to you to expect us to just do an event together or whatever, but it's definitely something that the board should start working on.
Okay, thank you. Katrina.
Okay. My other question for you is, a number of organizations, including AS clubs, have expressed discontent at the limited avenues for advertisement on campus. Do you believe these people are fully utilizing what the school has to offer, or does Buster need to work on offering better ways of getting the word out about organizations and events?
I actually believe it's a combination of both. The AS can definitely work harder on getting the word out on all the resources it has to offer, and this can be done in a variety of ways, emphasizing collaboration. But I do believe we offer different programming and resources that oftentimes go unused. For example, we offer 50 publicity packages, and about a quarter of them go unused or used improperly. I also think student leaders need to be proactive in the search for resources for the clubs, as well as the AS. The AS also needs to be proactive and find different and unique ways to get the word out about their resources that they can utilize. But if I may add, for the VP of activities to focus on such a small issue as this that can be addressed by the club coordinator or the two club sports specialists that were created for that very reason would almost seem to me like a waste of time, not complete because any work that goes towards activities not wasted, but almost. I don't think the issue needs to be addressed by the VP for activities who has other responsibilities. What I could do as VP for activities is guide the activities office so that they get the resources they need and they have the training necessary to get the word out about these resources. The role for VP for activities, as far as these sorts of things concerned, is not to address them directly, but to guide other students and offices, such as the activities office, to address these issues.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have used, as a club leader, I've used the free publicity packages, and I've known others who've used them or have just bought a banner or flyers on their own. And we found that they're not generally effective. Like, personally, I found that I can get more people on Facebook than using physical publicity materials. What do you have to say about that?
Well, in that case, we do help with that as well. You know, when students come to us like, hey, can you advertise our events? We do it for them. We have our Facebook page where we advertise it, we share it to other offices, and we send out emails. We also have OrgSync, that's a really good tool for advertising that goes onto the main page, the main calendar of the AS. So we do have ways of helping them out with different and unique ways of advertising, and they come in and ask questions all the time like that.
Thank you. Final question.
So given your background, Katrina, in club involvement, it makes sense that you have focused your campaign around clubs and without the Activities Council, but what are your plans regarding the other responsibilities of this job?
I would say yes. My main experience does come from AS clubs, but I would say that my campaign is applicable to more than just AS clubs. RHA, the anthropology department, AS Productions could use, could benefit from some of the ideas I have. I also have budgeting and finance experience, which could also help me with this job, and I've been talking with athletic teams, meeting with a variety of staff and students to learn more about what this job does. For example, concerning how my campaign is more than just about AS clubs, I've been coming up with this random list of almost 25 points of ideas for workshops, something maybe the Club Hub could do every quarter. I mean, some are definitely more club-oriented, such as maintaining a legacy, which actually is going to be mentioned during club kickoff, then others that even someone who just sits at home all day watching Netflix would be interested in, like learning how to write press releases and dealing with publications. So I am definitely aware that I have more that I mainly have club experience, and that I need to learn more about the other things I need to oversee as vice president for activities.
What about, for example, CUGS and K-Bike or DRAC? These are often positions that get forgotten by the VP for activities.
There's a lot more. But.
Okay, so starting last quarter, I became a newsreader for CUGS. It's not because I was like, oh, I want to become VP for activities, so I'm going to become a newsreader. It's nothing like that because I've always wanted to. But you know, I'm slowly learning about these different departments, and I'm emailing Patrick. He said that the two positions never really talk with each other, and that's something I kind of want to change. I don't know why. Maybe they feel like they don't need to talk with each other, but I would like to maybe, if I get elected, to check in with these different positions.
All right, thank you. Give a round of applause for our candidates. All right, next up we'll have our vice presidents for student life candidates.
say more, but there's a question section, right? I didn't see that.
All right, everybody. We're going to start with a opening speech by Samantha Goldblatt.
Thank you, Joseph. So my name is Samantha Goldblatt, and this is my second year at Western studying geology. I've been involved with the AS almost since the day that I got here. I started as a peer advisor in the Legal Information Center, and this year I'm the coordinator in the same office. So part of my job as coordinator is to see students who are having legal issues, and a majority of those legal issues, a vast majority, are with renters' rights and dealing with landlord-tenant law. So in this position, I help to educate students about this issue and empower them to really take charge and stand up for their own rights. This has particularly alerted me to a growing